Hey Jordan, how's it going? Um, so I looked at the worksheet you sent me, both of them, and they are pretty loaded worksheets. So what I mean is it requires a lot of skills and prior knowledge to complete, and I'm not sure how much you know and don't know, how much he's taught you, especially being homeschooled. So I'm actually going to do a few videos, and I'm trying to keep them short, on just some review. So we're going to start reviewing some geometry, just a couple problems, making sure you know how to convert from degrees to radians, what radians are. I'm actually going to show you unit circle. We're going to derive it together so you know how to use unit circle. It's really important you understand unit circle if you want to do any more advanced math classes in college. And then we'll fill out the worksheet. All right, so sorry if this is a little long. Hopefully it's not too bad. The first thing we have to review in order to fill out unit circle are 45, 45, 90 triangles and 30, 60, 90 triangles. So I'm going to go ahead and just recap what those are. You should remember this. So if you have 30 degrees here, 60 degrees, 90, we were taught a rule that across from the 30-degree angle is x, this length is x. Whatever this length is, across from the 90, that's going to be 2 times x. And then across from the 60-degree angle, that is x square root 2. Actually, sorry, scratch that, square root 3. Sorry, it's been a while. Okay. And then for the 45, 45, 90, we learned the rule that across from the 45-degree angles was x, and across from the 90 was x square root 2. Those are 2 rules we learned in geometry. So hopefully you remember that. If what's going to happen when we do unit circle, and I'm going to put it up here in a second, is that x is 1. So when x is 1, you just have 1 times the square root of 3, which is just the square root of 3. And then 2 times 1, if you plug 1 in for x, is just 2. This is what your 30, 60, 90 triangle would look like. And if you plug 1 in for x here, it's just going to be 1, 1, and then 1 times the square root of 2 is just the square root of 2. So hopefully that you remember this from geometry. This is the foundation of building a unit circle, which is what your trigonometry is all about. So it's really important you understand this. The next thing I want to review really quick is how to convert between degrees and radians. Hopefully you've been taught this, but I just don't know, and I don't want to confuse you and start talking about things you don't know. So I'm just going to put it up here. So to convert from degrees to radians, you multiply your degrees by pi over 180, and then to convert from radians to degrees, you multiply by 180 over pi. So what I mean is, from now on in your, well, since you've started your math career, you've measured angles, this distance, you've measured in degrees. So maybe this is 30 degrees, let's say. Well, an angle is part of a circle, so this angle is part of a circle. Here's the center. 30 degrees, I could also measure 60 degrees. And so instead of using degrees, we can use a different unit of measure called a radian. That's pretty much all it is. And I could go into what a radian means and how it's derived, but if you're interested in that, you can Google it or you can ask me, but I don't want to waste your time going over that. So as long as you understand that a radian is just another unit of measure for an angle, you should be okay. Radians are often used from now and the rest of your math career. So we're going to use radians today. So let's practice a couple problems. So let's say I have 30 degrees. If I want to know what that is in radians, all I'm going to do to convert from degrees to radians is multiply by pi over 180. So this 30 is over 1 if it's not over anything. And we can just multiply across. And oftentimes you don't multiply 3.14 times 30. You just leave it as pi. So what I mean is I'm going to multiply 30 times pi over 180. And I'm just going to reduce that fraction. So these zeros cancel. And then 3 goes into 18. How many times? Should go in 6 times. Oops. So you get pi over 6. That's one example. If you wanted to convert back, so let's say you're given a radians, let's say you're given pi over 4 radians. And you want to convert to degrees, you multiply by 180 over pi. Your pi's will cancel, and you'll get 180 over 4, and you just reduce it. And if you divide 180 by 4, you get 45 degrees. So that's how you convert from radians to degrees. So I want to make sure this doesn't look foreign to you because unit circle uses radians often and not degrees. Okay, so I'm actually going to stop this video here. That's the review. And then I'm going to do a video on creating unit circle. You need to know how unit circle is derived and what everything means in it because it's really useful. It's very useful on tests if you know what it means. And then we'll go over your worksheet. Your work should be really easy to fill in once we do unit circle.